Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Now this is exactly what I'm talking about, friends. This is what I've been ranting about over the last couple of days. If you can't beat 'em, join 'em. I'm just now starting to realize how naive, how stupid Republicans have been over the last two election cycles. Just whining and complaining. It's not fair. The system is not fair. Well, at the end of the day, the system is the system. You can't change that. You'll never change that. The Supreme Court refuses to take a lot of these cases. There's no federal law that dictates how elections should be ran on a state-by-state basis. And at the end of the day, the laws of the state are the laws of the state. You might not like them, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Why is everyone taking the black pill? We have been looking at this thing all wrong. If the Democrats are going to engage in these tactics, why are Republicans just complaining about it and whining and continuing to lose? If Democrats are going to do it, then Republicans should do it. And of course, we're talking about ballot harvesting. This is the power behind the Democrat electoral machine. And guess what? It's not illegal. I might be wrong, I'll have to double check this one, but I think in most states, ballot harvesting is actually a legal practice. The Democrats have perfected it. And so how can you expect to compete if you're not even playing the game? If you are surrendering the biggest tactical advantage to your opponent, how can you go in expecting to win and then just whine about it and complain and continue to doom afterwards? The Democrats are doing what they do best. They're playing the system. They're doing everything that they need to do to win. And it's about damn time that Republicans start doing the same. Democrats play the game of hyperbole and the game of promising big to get votes. Salesmanship. Republicans don't. And Democrats play the mail-in ballot game, and Republicans don't. Well, this has to change, and it seems as though people are finally waking up. And let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so I've been thinking about it over the last couple of days, and it seems as though other people are thinking the same thing. We've got this from Election Wizard on Twitter. He writes, drop boxes at gun shows, drop boxes at churches, drop boxes at construction sites, drop boxes at MAGA rallies. So let it be done. There's one word in my brain right now. I'm visualizing it in big, bold letters. Yes. And you know, in a certain way, this is already happening in California. We have this from back in 2020. California GOP in legal standoff over ballot harvesting with unofficial boxes. At issue, unofficial ballot boxes that the state GOP purchased and set up at conservative churches, party headquarters, gun shops, and other likely Republican voter haunts across the state. Some of the boxes first reported in detail by the Orange County Register were affixed with the label official ballot box. The Democrat Secretary of State tried stopping it, but according to Senator Melissa Melendez from back on October 12, 2020, campaigns, nonprofit organizations, businesses including corporations, labor unions, churches, ballot harvesters may collect an unlimited number of ballots. It appears Republicans are well within their right to collect ballots in this manner. It's just that Democrats don't like it. See, Democrats don't like it when you play their game, but the reality is, the act of ballot harvesting is legal within certain restrictions in nearly every single state. Here's a map that shows the legality based on state. The blue states show where it's legal for someone to return a ballot if that person is someone that was chosen by the voters. Where it's yellow, they have restrictions that vary of specific people who may return the ballots, and only one sole red state has laws in place where only the voter is allowed to return their ballot. That being the state of Alabama. And that's the thing. You might want the rest of the country to adopt what Alabama's doing, but that's never going to happen. That's unrealistic, pie-in-the-sky naivete. Ballot harvesting is a legal act, of course with certain restrictions in certain states, but as long as you're operating within those restrictions, there's nothing stopping the GOP from getting people on the ground, boots on the ground, and pushing early voting drives and early voting initiatives. That's what the Democrats are doing. They're not even focusing on Election Day anymore. They don't care about Election Day. What they're trying to do from a month out of Election Day is collect as many ballots as humanly possible. That's what elections have become. It's who can collect the most early ballots and get them in those boxes. The simple fact is, especially in these highly competitive swing states, Republican election day turnout is not enough to compete with the Democrat machine. And the one place that you gotta look is California. Ballot harvesting is legal in California. Well, guess what? California is basically the only place where the GOP has adopted it as a strategy. And is it any surprise that district flips in California are what decided the House for Republicans? No, it's not. And there's even some chatter that some of these Republicans who are winning these districts won based on Republican early vote, early mail-in ballots, competing with Democrats. The GOP is doing it in California. They're playing the Democrat game and they're competing with Democrats in competitive districts. They may not be competing on the state level, which of course they never will be able to, at least not until things shift significantly. But in competitive districts, Republicans are winning because they're playing the game. They're not sulking and whining and complaining. They're saying these are the rules of the game, well, let's play it. Nothing is illegal here. There's been this narrative of fear that you have to show up on election day. That's the only legitimate way to vote. Well, if the GOP maintains this mentality, I think what most people are thinking the general sentiment is Republicans will never win again, at least not in the near future, or at least not until things change. Well, the likelihood of things changing are slim to none, especially when you're looking at winning the House, because you have to compete in left-wing states where the laws are a certain way and they are not changing. It's never going to happen. And so the only way to compete is to play on the same rules. And just think about it. I mean, it's completely stupid if you think about it. Imagine you're playing basketball, for instance, and the rule of the game is that you're only allowed 3 steps before a layup or before taking a shot. You have the pickup step where you pick up the ball, 1, 2, and then you can jump, you can fade away, you can do a layup, whatever it is. Imagine complaining and saying, well, that's not fair. That technically should be a travel, even though it's part of the rule of the game. It's totally legal. It's how the game has been played for decades. Imagine complaining about that rule and refusing to take those steps and only letting your opponents take those 3 steps and then complaining that you're losing. You're giving the other side a tactical advantage. They're playing by the rules and you're complaining about the rules and restricting yourself based on some ideological belief. It's actually dumb. And I feel like this should be an epiphany moment. Let's look at Scott Presler, for instance, and the work that he did in Florida. There should be 100 Scott Preslers doing work across the most important states, getting people registered, getting people to submit their ballots early, getting those ballots in the system and competing with Democrats, not only on election day, but in early voting and in mail-in voting. Look, it was starting to affect me as well, that black pill. Feeling a little bit hopeless. I think a lot of people are feeling hopeless right now, but that's weakness. You don't stop. You don't give up and say it's hopeless, it's never going to change. You change and you adapt and you continue to fight until you win. And boy, is it close. We're not going to pretend like it was a crushing defeat for the GOP. The House was won, the popular vote was won. All the GOP needs is that little extra bit to win those few districts, to win those few Senate races. I mean, coming up in the next election, Senator Joe Manchin from West Virginia is up for re-election. He can be challenged. If Herschel Walker wins in the runoff against Raphael Warnock, that puts the GOP already in a good position to secure a Senate majority. And I'm sure there's other races as well that Republicans can be competitive in. And there's going to be an opportunity to expand the House majority. And there's also going to be an opportunity, if you play the game, to win the whole thing, to win the Electoral College. Because keep in mind, Republicans didn't play the game in 2020, and Donald Trump lost by 40,000 votes. Not by a lot. I mean, by a tiny little bit. The GOP campaign effort needs to change, needs to shift a little bit, and they can get the job done. And I firmly believe that, and that's the epiphany that I've had over the last couple of days. You want to doom and gloom, go right ahead. This guy's not joining you. The fight for freedom and economic responsibility, the fight against the globalist warmongering machine, continues. That's what I got for you guys, though. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel if you guys are up for it. I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.